YouTube, you fools try to limit me. Muting and deleting channels, thinking that's the end of me. Y'all are not on my level, smaller than a centipede. This is my purpose, TBT is a ministry. I do not tire, my God gives me energy. Chose by Messiah, you believe, come get with me. Married to a black queen, we got the illest chemistry. Founded the black tube, and now we making history. Black tube, 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 what? Black tube, 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 what? TBT, 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 what? TBT, 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 what? TheBlackTube.com. I'm a giant killer, son of an omniscient God who's realer. If this be the thriller in Manila, I'm Ali in his prime. It's showtime, go time, about to take what's mine. We are not with your agenda, we showing real life.
Man, peace, y'all. This has been a day. A day. Son! Hold up.
Yeah. Hey, you making too much noise.
Close your door. All right, my bad, y'all. Wow. Lord. You got me saying fucking Lord. Man, are you serious? I don't even have no reason to be putting this disclaimer shit up here because I will not be appropriating or regurgitating or plagiarizing. I won't be doing none of that shit. This I can actually just do off the top of my head, like how I normally do things. You understand what I'm saying? Because this I know. I don't claim to know everything. I said something earlier. I tried to, put it out there, but I'm going to put it out there before we do this. In your lifetime, you're going to see some things, right? At this point in your life right now, you've seen some things. And the more that you see, right, the more that you will know you really ain't seen shit. You know what I'm saying? I'm speaking on a global scale. That's just like the more you know, you understand, and you broaden your horizons and learn more and learn more. You understand? You find out you don't know everything. You know some things, but you don't know everything. Again, the more you learn and the more you experience life as to where it becomes lessons, you travel, you see things that you've never seen before. And keep in mind, how many of us, you know what I'm saying, participating in this realm of social media and conscious community and I'm gonna get into the labels in a minute. I don't want to do that right now because I'll mess up what I'm trying to do for y'all, right? For us. So, you travel, but how many of us have been on all 7 continents and visited every nation within that continent? So there gonna be some things that you don't know and you never even see in your lifetime, right? So again, and nobody is, all of this, slight and a need to debate everything. We can't dialogue about things to try to get an inner understanding of not just different perspectives and points of views, but so you can learn some more. You think you know everything. That's not the case. We are in a predicament where we need each other. Let me tell you, there has been, what did I call it? I wrote it on here. A melanated death culture has been created, right? So let me give you this synopsis. Synopsis. I might mess the word up, but I know exactly what it means. Back in the day, but that's a whole nother conversation, right? Oh, my lips is dry. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm gonna get it together. So, the synopsis. Is my music too loud? Let me see. Okay, that's probably better, right? Basically, the reason I'm discussing this topic during this live stream is very vital to us as who we are. You know who we are. We know who they is and we know who them is, right? I want to be real strategic with this stuff. I'll roast some stuff. Do I need to get some glasses? Right. So this particular topic, right? See, for me, I'm determined not to curve, but to destroy a lot of these. They're not just narratives, right? That people are, and it's not a matter of people blindly following them. The problem is we don't hear each other out. Can we say what it is? We have biases that are embedded within us based off of, just say, for example, you were raised a Jehovah's Witness, right? And I was raised a Sunni Muslim, and he was raised a Orthodox Muslim, and she was, you understand, grew up and her parents were members of the NOI. You understand? Like, these is Hebrew Israelites over here. These is 5%ers over here. It's just a lot, y'all. A lot. So with that being said, like this division that has come about from this it's at its height. Right? So when I say we've created, and I'm scratch that. I'm not saying, because I'm not included in that. I try to be well rounded and balanced out here, right? I have been saying for years, a scholar does what? Examines both sides of the coin. You ain't a scholar if you can't debate your side and then we trade places and you debate my side. You're not a scholar if you can't do that, right? So that means it's a bias within you that's causing you to think that you're only right and you only know everything, right? Well, not you, but your particular doctrine is the one true doctrine, right? But I'm getting ahead of myself right now, right? Like, you know, the thing that irritates me the most out of all of these erroneous arguments and shit that y'all be having is this gender war shit, right? I call it a fake ass gender war. It's nothing really legit about it, because we're not realizing, first of all, we're not all the same. All women don't function the same. Of course, we have similarities because that's embedded within our nature as women. You understand? But we're not all the same. And every man does not desire the same kind of woman. You understand? You may desire, and we're going to talk about the modern versus the traditional woman, right? But right now, what I want to deal with is what has developed based off this melanated people's death culture that's been created by way of, y'all do too much. Y'all, a lot of people have become dependent upon, you know, what they learned on a device. You know, it was a time where if you were, you know, trying to handle some legal matters that maybe weren't that serious or technical on your own, you would go to the law library, right? You wouldn't, and not to say that technology is something that's negative. That's not what I'm saying. I'm talking about people who don't vet information that they get by way of social media, right? And, you know, people start to, like, if I begin to express, for example, how much I love dogs, and let's say you love dogs, you understand, then you're going to, you know, it's going to resonate with you because you love dogs too, right? But it's a situation now where a bunch of people who hate get together and be like, you know what I'm saying? We hate women, or we hate men type of, or we hate American black women, right? You know, passport brothers, this is the kind of shit that's developed from these fake ass gender wars, right? You got passport brothers. I got a name for all of y'all. I'm telling you, like, this is a melanated death culture, and that's why I'm calling it that, because if we have a percentage of melanated men who feel as though they have to leave outside of their home to go find a woman of another ethnicity, you understand, another nationality, you know, different phenotype, you know, something is wrong. Now, let me say this, and this is a diss. Take it how you like. Right, hold on, let me name everybody first before I go to the diss. Hold on, right? So, you know, I got some names. Don't laugh, y'all, till I'm finished. I said passport boys. You got the super thoughts, right? You got the I don't need a man, bitter betties. You got the dusties. You got the poverty, polygamy. We really porn star people. You understand? Like, y'all ain't doing nothing but having threesomes and shit. That's not, you know, what that was about, whether we're talking about biblical times or not. You understand? Y'all, again, poverty. Y'all can't even afford to have multiple, you can't take care of the women and children that you got now. So, you know, for me, I'm not pro that at all. We have too many broken homes, you understand, within our communities for me to for to be acceptable for that kind of behavior. You see, now if you know, have wealth and you're able to maintain and take care of multiple women and multiple children, that's something else. And you're able to do it as to where there'll be generational wealth for your descendants and your heirs. Outside of that, that is incompetent. And I've said this before, and so I got two disses for the passport boys, right? I've said this before. For a man, and this is, no, let me get the other diss out since I've said this before. To be honest, it hasn't been one passport brother who I've seen who was easy on my eyes. Wow, my bad. I didn't even know I wasn't muted, y'all. My bad. I'm back. Again, y'all want to stay tuned because I'm going to break down the difference or the differences in between this modern woman and this traditional woman. And what's that about as well, and how it blends into what I'm talking about with this gender war stuff, right? So the passport boys, yes, that was a diss, but on a serious note, think about it. You're a man from North Carolina, born and raised. You from Memphis, Tennessee, born and raised, right? And you are considering going to a whole nother country to find a woman, right? Because you don't get along with the women who you've interacted with. Most of the melanated women that you interacted with, it was a turnoff, right? Whatever. I don't know. I'm not a man. I don't know. I'm just regurgitating what I've heard be expressed, because I actually do listen to the brothers and the sisters who have these gripes with one another, right? But the issue is, you have to be mature enough to come to some type of fucking resolution. It's no way. Did y'all see me when I left the SWV concert back in August? Did y'all see all of them thousands of melanated, beautiful women here in Detroit? And you mean to tell me y'all brothers got to go to a whole nother country to get a woman? And then when you get there and you get that woman, right? You can't watch Harlem Nights with her. You can't listen to Run DMC with her. You can't do none of that shit because she's not from your culture. So you gave up a piece of you when you did that, because you didn't get a woman from your own culture to procreate with. You went and took somebody else's woman, is what you did. That's what you did. You enhancing another nation's everything, right? Talent, whether we're talking about sports or the arts, business, entrepreneurship, you taking that somewhere else. You taking that knowledge somewhere else. You taking that bloodline somewhere else. And again, when you get your ass over there, whether you're going to Thailand or the Dominican Republic or wherever you're going, again, that woman can't watch Harlem Nights with you. She can't watch Friday and Friday after next and next Friday. She can't listen to Eric B. and Rakim with you. That's not of her culture. That's yours. That's your culture, not theirs. I'm just saying, they don't be easy on the eyes. I promise you, every guy who I seen that said they was a passport brother, Lord, I mean, I'm not single, but I wouldn't even consider it. They be ugly. You sitting up one talking, you got me, I don't care. I don't care who get mad, That's very, it shows to me some mental health issues, right? But I'm not here to, you hear what I'm saying? I'm not saying this about all melanated men. I'm talking about specifically the passport brothers, again, who are willing to enhance another nation's nation by way of procreating outside of your own. And I don't even want to get into that conversation because that's going to end up being one-sided. But I named everybody. I left out the pygmishas, right? I was kind of well-rounded with that. So I'm telling y'all, I was in here writing earlier, and now I can't see because it's dark in here. I'm gonna have to turn this other light on. For me, it's just it's the biggest factor with that is it shows some type of self-hate. It will have to, because you came from a melanated woman, good, bad, or terrible, nurturing or not. She got your ass here. 9 months. It take two to tangle, for sure. The parthenogenesis, you know what I'm saying? Like we not doing that nowadays. Nobody's no women are practicing the whatever to be able to manifest a child on their own by way of parthenogenesis, right? So that's not what I'm on. But the point is, 9 months, 9 whole months, and not just that, risking her life to have that child, right? That's the risk of a woman's life when that baby is coming through. Any mistake can be made, right? Not only that, any mistake can happen and the child is injured. You understand? Cerebral palsy in the early 80s was the beginning of, and I don't recall this being in the medical apartheid, but that is the beginning of the era of these doctors, insurance companies being sued for that. But it was happening decades before that, and at an alarming rate to our children. My oldest brother was born with cerebral palsy, like bad. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I don't even want. I'm getting off topic with that. So let me get back to the paper. So again, I'm trying to stop the last nail from being put into the coffin of us decimating the original divine trinity of mother, father, child, mother, father, child, mother, father, children, heirs, descendants. Because if our men are going to a whole nother nation, and then we got a bunch of super thoughts and all of this other shit, right? And these labels that are being placed upon women as far as being modern and traditional, right? So I'm about to break this down. Listen, y'all. Modern. What do we consider to be a modern woman, and what do we consider to be a traditional woman, right? So I done made a list. I got to turn the light up, y'all. I don't know why he turned that light off. That was a ball. Shouldn't do that. So on the modern side, when it comes to the women, we got liberal, right? That's one. They say the modern women are liberal. Okay, over here with the traditional women, they're conservative, right? Allegedly. I'm gonna tell you why it's allegedly. Because when you're using these words modern and traditional, you're how do you say? You're not defining these words in their proper context. And I'm gonna prove that this evening. Right? So, okay. The modern woman, y'all say she's independent. Right? The traditional woman is needy and independent. Right? The modern woman, y'all say she don't cook. Right? The traditional woman, she don't work. Right? That's what, I'm just, we glossing over it. Y'all say the modern women pay some, most of all of the bills. Right? The traditional woman don't pay any bills. Okay? Number 5, the modern woman has opinions and suggestions. Right? The traditional woman obeys. She don't have no bunch of questions and suggestions. I'm just saying. I'm not saying this is how I view this, because I'm going to give you what the missing components again to these terms, because they're being misused. right? Okay. Over here, modern woman. She questions and addresses deceit based off intuition, right? The traditional woman does not. She don't question. She allegedly, if her intuition is telling her something is going on with her guy, you know, I don't. She doesn't believe in divorce. All of this other type of stuff, right? Like it, you gotta kill her to get rid of her. All right. The tradition. The modern woman lets men lead in his areas of expertise, experience, and superiority. And she leads in the situations where her expertise are superior, right? Thus making it two heads of the household, right? Now, that for me, I'm not modern. I'm not a modern woman because I'm from the most ancient people on the planet, right? So it's nothing modern about me. And this traditional, I'm gonna break this shit down. It's gonna really, really, really trip y'all out. Because 9 times out of 10, what I'm going to unveil, most people I've never heard nobody say shit when it comes to these two terms and these two labels, right? So, thus having 2 head of households, not 1 head of household. And again, I fuck with that because, and again, I don't know everything, and my man don't know everything. Neither one of us know everything, so there are going to be some situations or some things that occur where I'm knowledgeable in that particular area, so I can handle that, right? And it's going to be some things that, of course, he knows that I don't know, and that's where he leads at, right? See, these situations cause, let me tell you something. The so-called traditional woman, when she go out on a date with her man, say they go bowling, let's just say she was on a bowling team and all kind of shit, prior to them getting together, or learn how to bowl as a child, going bowling with her parents or whatever, and she could cream him bowling, but she'll never do it, right? The traditional woman will never sit down and play a video game with her husband and whip his ass in that game. She know better. She know better. And y'all know I'm telling the truth. Don't, you know what I'm saying? Again, I don't, all of these sentiments don't resonate with me, but I'm sharing them with you all for a reason, so I can get to the meat of the discussion. Okay. What we got? Number 8. The modern woman cooks and places food in plates on family dinner table, and we all eat and prepare our plates together. We pass it around, right? That's something else. You know what I'm saying? That should be okay with the family, right? But the traditional woman cooks and makes husband's plate first, because remember, she don't work, right? And caveat, some of my brothers, y'all have to stop acting like you have a housewife. You don't have a housewife. Some of you. A lot of you have women that go out and work every day just like your ass. So certain things aren't to be expected. Me, I don't have a problem with making my dude a plate, but I don't do it because he don't always eat all of his food. So if I make you a plate and I pile all this food on and you throw you know what I'm saying? It's a waste. It's a waste. I prefer him to make his own plate. I cook. You understand? We don't really have a lot of opportunities to sit down at the family table and have dinner because we're both handling business. All right. So, we might go to dinner at a restaurant sometimes as a family. I don't really like restaurants. I prefer to cook. Right? So I know what I'm getting. Nobody else is touching my food. and my energy is on my food. I've sued 2 restaurants. So imagine, it's a convenience in it, but when you have drunk glass and had fingernails in your fucking food, like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, I sue, right? These restaurants is terrible, y'all, and now we know what the food, is horrible. So what I got for number 9? Now number 9, because I only wrote 9. Number 9 is something that I addressed on a couple of posts in a couple of threads, right? This shit right here. For the modern woman, they say children are her number 1 priority. They come first, right? And the traditional woman says her husband is her number 1 priority, and then the children are secondary, which is, where this making his plate first before everybody eats kind of comes from. The traditional woman, again, not working. She's a housewife, homemaker, stay-at-home mom, right? So, the women who I had these discussions with, they were like, she was like, he's the one who provides, so he should eat first, right? He's the provider, so he should eat first. Why would I feed the children first? Okay, that's your prerogative. Let me say that. And again, and like I just said, a lot of you all have women who go out and work just like you do. They're not stay-at-home wives, right? I'm saying, but again, some women, and I don't have a problem with that. I don't care who you make the plate first. You understand? My concern is when you start talking about, the husband comes before the children. Like, hold on, what world are we living in? First and foremost, the purpose of you coming into a union and making a commitment with the opposite sex is to procreate, number 1. Number 2, those children are yours. Them children that you created are literally you and your husband running through there. You understand? That is yours. So in my right mind, I don't see how that makes sense to say my husband come before my children. Or if you a man, my wife come before my children. Your children are you. So you telling me the very purpose of you and this woman or you and this man getting together, again, that union was specifically for y'all to procreate, right? Because if y'all was just gonna do business, believe me, I know what a marriage license is. I know what all of that shit is. I know the difference between a marriage license and a marriage certificate, and doing it through your own nation or tribe. You understand? It's a union. You coming together. This can't come together. This can't come together, but this comes together, right? Made to be together, to make some more use. So you mean to tell me your mini-me's, which is you and your husband running around, come second? No, they're you. Y'all all come first at the same time because y'all all the same people. Again, this wave, right, is like the final nail in the coffin to the ancient holy divine trinity of mother, father, child. Mother, father, children. Mother, father, heirs, descendants. So you mean to tell me, and maybe that's a reason, some of these traditional women they, don't be involved in finances. So when I speak of descendants and heirs and your children, your purpose as well as it is to create generational wealth for them. But if you putting them second and talking about they second, and you don't even realize that they are you and they came out of you, but you don't know that the children are you, you putting yourself second and third. Is what you're doing. Now, let's get on this modern and traditional shit. And we gonna start with the traditional. When you say you're a traditional woman, and my bad, y'all, I'm gonna put some comments on the screen. When you say you're a traditional woman, that's not a complete statement. Like, okay, you're a traditional woman, okay, of what tradition? What tradition? You just saying that you're traditional. Well, what's your tradition? What tradition are you talking about? Are you talking about Christian traditions? Are you talking about Yoruba traditions or Igbo traditions or Cherokee traditions? Apache traditions? Washita? Yamasee? You talking about Iroquois tradition? I mean, you just can't put that out like that, because we won't be able to recognize where those traditions come from. You understand? To be able to put them in their proper context. Like, for example, let me just pick anything. Obeys, right? So if you're a traditional woman and you obey your husband, that sounds like you're a Christian. So you are a Christian traditional. Say what it is. So these set of behavioral labels, patterns, or whatever you want to call it, it came from somewhere. So again, when you say traditional woman, you have to complete that cipher, right? Say, for instance, you are a Jehovah's Witness. Then all of these traditional labels or things that so-called traditional American black women or melanated women, indigenous women do, autochthonous, aboriginal, say some more, you know what I'm saying, women, their behavior, so to speak, right? This wouldn't be relevant. All of it wouldn't be relevant to a Jehovah's Witness. The same way the women who some of you all say are modern because they're independent, everything, all of these behavior patterns don't fit all the women who you're saying is or are modern women. It doesn't. This doesn't fit every woman. So with that being said, message to the passport brothers: you have judged an entire nation of women based off of the women that you've interacted with. Let me say, and especially, like I said, y'all ain't too easy on the eyes. So let me say this. You as a man, one man, have not even interacted with 1% of all of the melanated women in your age range. You haven't. You don't even know 1% of all of the melanated women who are single and available. You haven't interacted with more than 1%. So with that being said, it's incompetent what y'all doing. You know what I'm saying? It's very incompetent, because you going to a whole nother country, but you've only interacted with 1% of single melanated women. So based off of that 1% of melanated women that you, one man, have interacted with, you've come to the conclusion that the women who look like me and look like my mother and my grandmother and my ancestors ain't for me. You know, it sounds like some lame shit to me because, and I'm gonna say this the smoothest way that I possibly can for the situation that I'm currently in while I'm trying to do this right here with y'all. Every man who I know and who have came up with and were established enough to be and polished enough to be able to support a wife and children, when they break up or divorce a woman, they don't sweat that shit. They don't cry. They'll tell you about to cry over no woman. All these women in Detroit, all these beautiful women in Detroit, about to. No man, I don't know no man that's a fucking passport boy. Again, you know, long time ago. You know, I was somewhat kicking it with a guy. Had no idea he was married, right? But when his wife found out about the other women he was dating, his wife found out, she decided to divorce him or leave him or whatever happened with that situation, right? But when it popped off, that's the first thing came out his mouth. Well, I ain't about to cry with no woman. I can get another woman. So why the passport boys can't get no woman of you know what I'm saying, their liking? Mind you, again, look at the situation of what I just stated. This wasn't a situation where a man was unhappy with his wife or, you know, his woman or his girlfriend. It's a situation that the woman decided she didn't want to be in it no more for whatever reasons, let alone him, you know, cheating or whatever, right? And any man in Detroit that I know, except for somebody that may be lame as fuck and may not be real easy on the eyes, is not going to no other country, no other state, no other nowhere to go meet no woman. They ain't even crying over had a good woman. You know, I know men who are on their second or third marriage, and some of them, you know, like, dang, I wish I could have kept my first wife, but she, you know, my new wife, such and such and such, and, you know, they don't have no problems. So I can't comprehend that. Again, y'all seen the video when I was coming out that concert. You seen all the melanated women that came out to see Escape and SWV, and any single man that was looking for a woman or even just a date has enough sense to know to go where it's a bunch of women to choose from right here on this land. You don't have to pack up and take your ass somewhere. That's your preference. You don't want a woman that look like you or look like your mother. I can see why a lot of y'all wouldn't want a woman that look like you, because like I said, I haven't seen one of them cats yet that was attractive to my eyes or easy on my eyes at the very least. All of them, and they all have this lame, you know, or either that or they the type of guy that, you know, if they're not a cop, they could be a cop. Like, it's just this, again, you know, when you get your ass over there, that woman not going to be able to watch Harlem Nights with you. She not going to be able to watch Superfly with you. She not going to be, well, maybe I shouldn't have said that, but she not going to be able to listen to Eric B. Rock and Rakim, Run DMC, none of that shit with your ass. Because she not going, that's not of her culture. That's your culture. And, you know, that's your choice. You know, if you want to give that up, right? That's your choice. You want to get out of not having somebody who can really actually relate to you and your culture. You can't listen to the dramatics with her. You can't listen to the Temptations with her. You can't do none of that shit. You can introduce them to that shit, but if this is an adult woman, she already has biases and things of that nature, and particular food that tastes good to her, that she likes to eat, you know what I mean? And so on and so forth. I hope she don't fold up clothes. Shit. Y'all, I don't know what to say. That disgusts me. So let's look at some of the comments right quick. And I don't even know if I'm finished. Do I have another page? Right. I'm just saying, traditional, what tradition? Santeria, is that what you grew up in? That's the tradition that you traditional woman. No, no, yeah. Just say what it is. If it's a couple that's Islamic, say what it is. She's a traditional Muslim woman, right? She's a traditional Christian woman. Say what it is. But the flip side of that coin is, based off of these called out behaviors, you gonna have Christian women on the modern side. You gonna have some Islamic women that fall over here in North America. You are, granted, that's gonna fall on the liberal side. So that's why this shit is a fraud, right? The same way that these gender wars are fraudulent. Now, that's probably not even the proper word. I'm worried about the cause, the effects of it, right? Creating a dev culture. Because if our men are going to another country to marry a woman outside of us, you understand? That's, again, we don't want to have a negative birth rate. That's not us. That's the others. That's the others that have the negative birth rate. But at the rate that we going, with these feuds, and then I'm looking at social media mess you up, right? Doing too much of it when it comes to especially those topics. You can't go on Facebook or YouTube or none of these places and not be exposed to this shit. It's there. It's there. Right? So with that being said, for me, the reality is, I'm not gonna say all, but most of the women who I grew up with since we were little girls are married. Right? Not all of them. I ain't saying all and everybody, but most of them are married. Right? Most men and women my age that are worthy, you know what I'm saying, of being in a union with, are already spoken for. They're already fucking married. Or cohabitating with someone, with their spouse, right? Because everybody don't do marriage licenses and marriage certificates and shit, because they don't want the state of in their business. They don't want them involved in their affairs. So we have to take that into consideration too, right? So the passport brothers, and then we have the interracial marriage, and I 100% agree with, more than agree with Dr. Umar Johnson on his stance of snow bunnies never, and blah blah blah. And I've been that way long before I knew who Dr. Umar Johnson was. You see, it's from what I experienced growing up. that exposed me to something that made me not cool with that, right? So quite a few experiences, because I lived in Florida, you know what I'm saying, for a minute, right? And I never seen so many. First of all, I'm from Detroit. I've never seen melanated men with white women in my whole life. Not my whole life. My whole underage minor life, under 18 life, right? So, by the time I go somewhere else and I see an abundance of it, and then I notice that, when I'm in high school, Port Charlotte High School, the football players, they, for the most part, had the white girls, right? These were the boys that were for sure going to become Miami Hurricanes or Florida Seminoles or Florida Gators for sure. Florida is a football state. Florida didn't get a basketball team till what, 86 or 88? Or when did y'all get a basketball team? Somewhere in there, 86, 88. Put it in the comments. Somebody Google that shit. I know I'm not off that much by too many years, because when I was in Florida in 88 and 89, the Pistons won back-to-back, 89, 90. And I was in Miami in 88 when the Pistons lost, right? But everybody in Miami was rooting for Detroit. That I do remember. And y'all basketball team was fresh. The Heat was fresh. They hadn't been around that long. So Florida is a football state, and them European girls down there be snatching them brothers up. Boy, something else. And then I show up, right? White girls are not like me, because them niggas down there, based off of my complexion, love my ass. Not to say I'm not pretty like mama or whatnot, but I'm just saying. All right, I could have took many brothers from white girls, but I was too young, number one. Anyway, yeah, they modified modern for sure. Exactly, because again, last point on that. Again, I can't be a modern woman because I'm the most ancient thing on this planet. Mother's mother plane for a reason. You understand? When I be talking that shit about how many of us, and it starts from this, but I don't want to go too deep this evening, because we doing part 2s and part 3s. Y'all hear me say, any doctrine that has a sky daddy without a sky mother is a fraud, right? For a very long time. I'm one of Bobby Ill's students. Peace be upon him. You understand? He verified some things that I had already, had a little bit of knowledge on, and that it didn't matter whatever I read or whatever. You could have gave me a Mommy Wata book, anything back in the late 90s or whatever, but it was experience. Like when, oh man, look, I'll just spit it out and be blunt. My mother passed, right? And I'm talking, this is the day she passed. I went in the basement and she literally told me to plug up the deep freezer. It's unplugged. So in my mind at that moment, of course, I go over to the deep freezer and it's unplugged, which makes no sense. It was never a time that in my household there wasn't a deep freezer, right? I grew up with, so for the deep freezer to be unplugged, that's odd. I opened the deep freezer. You know, it's still cold in the inside. Everything is still frozen. So it couldn't have been unplugged for long. But the point is, my mother had passed that night. And my aunt, my family is at the house, right? So I'm like just in shock or disbelief at what just happened to me. So I come upstairs and shit, I tell everybody, and my auntie had a fucking fit. She's Jehovah's Witness. She ain't want to hear that shit. Your mother is gone. Is what, you know, I can't say what she said verbatim, but she was like, don't talk like that and don't say that. That ain't true. That can't happen. And, you know, she's Jehovah's Witness, right? One of the biggest issues with us is, and with people on a global scale, is the divinity of, and I always say the divinity of the great mothers or the women was stolen. When you look at all of the monotheistic ideologies, they're all patriarchal, right? It's always and you know, don't get slick with me. We all, you know, have a certain amount of knowledge of self to know that the most high energy doesn't have a sex. But that doesn't negate the fact that my entire existence and my father and mother's entire existence, every time a God was made reference to, and it's always he, him, Lord, Father God. My people from the island, they don't just use the word God by itself. They specifically say Father God. Tell me I'm wrong. And I could be wrong. I don't know every Jamaican or every person from the island, but I know a whole lot of them. Remember, I stayed in Florida and I live in Detroit. So a lot of it is not. It's a nice amount of Jamaicans here. I just put it that way. And Jamaicans, you know, once they get here and plant their feet here, they love it. They'll take Detroit over New York or Philly any day. I guarantee it. I know from dons to restaurant owners who are Jamaican. I know personally. So I'm telling you, these people lived in those other places, and once they got here and plant their feet, never leaving this motherfucker. This is the most melanated place ever. Right now, you understand, we have been depopulated because historically we as a people will abandon some shit in a minute. And that's what happened when a so-called financial crisis happened here in Detroit, and a lot of people went into mortgage foreclosure and property tax foreclosure. They packed up. A lot of them moved to Arizona, right? A lot of people, you know, we had already had an abundance of people, you know, starting from what I know. And this ain't no, I ain't talking about Big Meech or nobody else. It's people from Detroit who I know that left Detroit in the late 80s and moved to Atlanta and had already started building there, right? So I like to make reference to this. When you hear people in Atlanta or Jermaine Dupri say Atlanta is the new Motown, don't get it twisted. They're just not talking about the music industry. They're talking, when they say Detroit, I mean Atlanta is the new Detroit or Atlanta is the new Motown, they're talking about black wealth. That's what they're talking about. They're not talking about the music again. They're talking about black wealth. And some people would say, oh, once upon a time, yeah, Detroit was the richest city in the world and blah, 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 and all of that. And you act like, you know, we still ain't balling and wasn't balling. Stop playing. Again, the population has decreased. And yeah, it's a lot of people, you know, start being forced to downgrade when the fucking casinos came. You understand? If you actually dealt with politics, you would know certain things, right? Certain shit that I know. Before they actually built these casinos here in Detroit, I used to go to the meetings with the mayors and the city council, and I was introduced to doing things like that by way of this magazine, Melodic Militia. It was a hip hop magazine back in the day, station here in Detroit. And long story short, they gave the statistics. They said once the casinos come, they're expecting auto theft to go up, increase, rape to increase, mortgage foreclosure to increase, all of these things, right? And what they did is they use New Jersey as a model. The Taj Mahal, and not talking about over there, that Trump casinos and shit they put over there. And what happened to Atlantic City, specifically Atlantic City, Georgia. I said Georgia. Damn, my bad, y'all. New Jersey. So we were able to look at how Atlantic City, the decline in this, and the increase in the essays, and the increase in the auto thefts, and all of these other things that were happening. So some people already anticipated it occurring here in Detroit, right? But again, take the advice of Dr. Claude Anderson. He pleaded with people starting, I want to say in 2008, to relocate to Detroit. Literally, after and during a financial crisis, what's her name? Wendy Williams was on TV crying and shit. She was crying tears and talking about Detroit, and she knew so much shit about Detroit. I was like, wow. The Black Renaissance, like literally. I showed Mickey Howard was on the show, and she's on the show being interviewed, and the show is a Detroit show. The lady was from Detroit. I had never seen it before, so I can't give them a shout out. I don't remember the name of the show, but I remember what Mickey Howard said. She said, man, Detroit was like Africa to me. And the girl was like, what do you mean like Africa? She was like, black wealth is black everything. Black owned, black mayor. Detroit had not had a white mayor from the year of 1974 all the way up to 2013. You count that. You show me another city the size of Detroit, you understand, who had a population of over 1 million black people in this city. You look at the CDC and the government statistics and shit, and they'll tell you that Detroit is 85% black, right? That's a farce, but it's still way exceeding every the fuck body else, right? There's some cities that are larger than us. I think we're like the 9th or the 10th. And, shit has changed. If you're talking about population, I'm not talking about population. I'm talking about square mileage. But as far as population, when you get to the ratio, your percentage, we remained unmatched. But her point was, again, everywhere they went, these were melanated establishments. We ran. People come here all the time and don't see not one, and pardon me, white person. Not one, unless you take your ass downtown. Other than that, where are you going to see white people at in Detroit? Put it in the comments. And this is not about, being racist, because, I don't, I'm not in that race. You understand? So I'm just saying, these are just facts. Take it how you like it. Go ask Minister Inky, who relocated here. Go ask KT, the arts degree, who relocated here in Detroit. You understand? The shit they be showing y'all on the internet, yes, it's a lot of houses that have been torn down and gutted. You understand? By way of people losing their homes again to mortgage foreclosure and property tax foreclosure because of the financial crisis that occurred, right? So with that being said, you know, the house gets abandoned, and so all the crackheads go in and out the house, take the pipes. They did it in buildings and things like that. But it don't look like that everywhere in Detroit. You got to be out your damn mind. And again, this is a city where people, and I just realized that people, like we in Detroit, right? And we got various neighborhoods, right? And you know, you can be riding out in Brightmoor on the west side and be like, damn, what is that? Damn, man, look at that house. Ain't no house, like 4 houses right there, tore down. And you understand? And as you're driving, it's not even 3 or 4 blocks, and all of a sudden you're in Rosedale Park and you see some of the beautifulest homes you've seen. You understand? And as you keep driving, you might cross Grand River, and you understand, you go all these different places, and you know, you're still in Detroit. You know, if you're in looking at the houses in the community, the neighborhood of Sherwood Forest, you're like, damn, these some beautiful homes. If you're in Palmer Woods, a neighborhood in Detroit, you like, damn, look at these houses. You understand? Beautiful. This ain't the Detroit I seen. And to my sister, Empress T, pieces, during the time, I guess, that we were disconnected, one of the last posts I saw that you put up back in the day, before really, I won't say we got disconnected. I started working at a job, you know, something, you know, yeah. So everybody know that has consumed a lot of my time. But my point was, if I'm not mistaken, Empress T, you from Chicago, but you got family here in Detroit, and you came to visit Detroit. And then, you know, matter of fact, I think it was on a radio show you mentioned it. You were saying that it was terrible. And as you were saying that, I was very disappointed, because I'm like, where did you go? You understand? Where did you go in Detroit to be like, yes, it is. It's as fucked up as they said it is. When right now, again, y'all see me do it all the time. I'm not talking about now when I be on my lunch break and I just be riding around Boston Edison district by my job, which is in Detroit. It's not Dearborn. It's not Livonia. It's not Southfield. It's not Bloomfield. It's not Farmington. It ain't Dearborn Heights. It ain't, you know what I mean? It's Detroit. So over the years on Facebook, y'all have literally seen, and it is not like I'm just, okay, I'm gonna drive to this specific neighborhood. No, one day I was actually leaving Brightmoor, and as I was driving, I put the camera up and just let it record. And the people was like, damn, we ain't know y'all real estate was like that, and this, and this is just me riding in the Rosedale Park neighborhood. And even outside of that area where it's not Rosedale Park, it is some beautiful fucking homes. And generational wealth still there, because guess what? It's black people that own these homes. It's not, first of all, again, bragging on my city, Detroit had the most black home owners in America during, and this is not even just during Detroit's pinnacle, right? I'm talking about the late 90s and the early 2000s, before the economic crisis, you know what I'm saying? Financial crisis, or whatever they call that. These homes are passed down. I know. My maternal grandfather left my mother a house and a church, right? Most of her friends that she grew up with, you know, that I know as aunties or whatnot, they parents passed down property to them, not just land down south, homes here in Detroit, businesses here in Detroit. Prior to the freebase and the crack cocaine era, man, just imagine where we would be as a people. Just this one city I'm talking about, all of them would be banging. But in particular, I'm talking about Detroit. Had that war haven't been waged upon our parents, and for some of us, our grandparents and our brothers and sisters, right? We know plenty young women who got past the 51. Y'all, they call that shit a woos on the East Coast. In Detroit, it was called a 51, thinking that they was hitting a joint, a regular joint, and that ain't what it was. So now she 13, 14, strung out. Don't go to, ain't nobody seen her at school. And it was fucking older men like Robert Sylvester Kelly that was doing this kind of shit too, in most instances. So the things that y'all are light on and forgiving on and shit, yeah. Everything that's done is not to fucking be forgiven. Like for me, they say forgiveness is for yourself. So you can, erase that trauma. But you ain't never gonna be able to really erase that trauma. Depends on what it is. Like if it's something that, or someone who I'm never gonna forgive, I'm never gonna forgive them. We gotta admit, it's people who deserve to be dug up right now and killed again. Unfortunately, I'm talking about pedo activity, which these ideologies who, deleted having a sky mother with the sky daddy, so it don't look LBGTTOQ. You understand? This is where a lot of this pedo activity takes place with these rabbis, these priests, Pastor Pimpin, Reverend Pork Chop, Reverend Malachi Dwight Z. York, unchecked. Shit, I'm talking about by us. I'm not talking about this system that was set up to lock you up any goddamn way. You understand? In prison and or $10,000 fine. That's the shit they was giving us for our ancestors for lottering or not having a job. When you go to prison for 10 years and or a $10,000 fine. And that same language is still being used right now. Right now. Look at some of these people that got, pending cases and shit. Look at their paperwork. See what it say they facing. They facing 2 years and or a $25,000 fine. Right? And or. In some instances, it says 4 years or $55,000 fine. Right? That sounds like business to me. That don't sound a very governmental, we are the people, constitutional republic. It does sound like a Republican form of government. Because remember, we issued republics. We were never no republic. We come from empires and kingdoms and various dominions and subsidiaries of them. We don't come from we fucking created Republican form of government for people, you understand, who were subsidiaries, who we weren't contracting doing business. Well, not me, you understand, and not all of our ancestors either. Again, these people, some people who look like us, you know what I'm saying, created alliances with these Europeans because they were doing business with them. And some of our ancestors or some of these tribes and clans that were here wasn't fucking with them at all. Every time they seen one of them colonists, they was trying to take them out. And with that being said, that causes us, the tribes and the clans, to go back to fighting each other, because you got some of the chiefs who wanted to do business with them. So they joined with the French and fought against indigenous people here who was indigenous just like them. So I'm trying to prevent, again, this melanated death culture just being created by way, again, of the passport brothers and the pygmishas and the women who have labeled themselves as traditional women. But what tradition, again, are you talking about? Say what it is. Say, if you follow a Christian doctrine or Islamic doctrine, and it's an Islamic tradition that you follow and live by, a creed, right, that you live by. You just can't say, make a blanket statement and say traditional. You have to state what tradition it is. Is it Igbo? Is it Yoruba? Is it Santeria? Is it, is it Caribbean tradition? It has to be some type of, you know what I'm saying? It just can't be traditional. So I don't, I felt like it was important to express that. With that going on, and again, I think I didn't express this completely. I began to speak about it, but I didn't put it all out there. So again, we talk about interracial marriage. I'm gonna show you something that's really rare. Now it's increasing the same way that our women and children are increasingly participating in the LMNOTTOQPP, right? At an alarming rate. So all the way around the board, we're participating. Where am I? I'm about to show y'all something rare though. It is rare. It's rare. Just like, the day I would ever say that a melanated death culture is taking place. Anytime you ain't never heard a Chinese man say he don't want to be with Chinese women. And even if that happened, you talking about 1 in a fucking billion, or one, even if it was 100,000 Chinese men, which is over 1 billion Chinese people in China, that ain't even a dent. But that's not the case. I don't think you can find 100,000 Chinese men that say that they don't want to come into union or marry a Chinese woman and have Chinese babies, right? They don't say they want to go to Brazil and get a woman, or Africa and get a woman and marry her and have babies with her because of what the fuck ever, right? Whatever reason, he's more attracted to how that woman looks than his own woman. That means, especially when we talking about Chinese people, you don't like how you look, nigga. And you damn sure don't look like how your mama and daddy look if you know what I mean? Let's keep it a butt. So we got the LMNOPQTT, then we got the passport brothers. This shit crazy. Again, this puts us closer to having a negative birth rate like them. But I was doing some numbers. I was talking about 100,000. Okay. It still does not compare. What a picture at? Hold on. Let's show you. There you go. This is rare. Don't care what you say. You can show me her. You can show me Katanji. A few other sprinkles, right? But the statistics tell it all. When we look into the marriage certificates and licenses, that department, right? And you look at the percentages of our men, we talking about a half of a football team, 20-30% of every football team, 20 or 30%, or 40% of the melanated men are married to, they married outside of their pool. We just say that. I'm trying to be careful with the language. Right? They didn't marry somebody that looked like their mom and their daddy or them. When it comes to interracial marriage, black men do it more than any other race of men, and they do it double the amount that black women do it. And again, that's new, because if we go back and we look in the year 1980 to see what was the percentage of black men versus black women who interracially married, we wasn't even in competition. It was like a single digit percentage. I don't remember exactly what, but like a single digit percentage versus y'all, already do it twice as much as we do it. So in 1980, it was 3 times as much. We have to use logic. Most melanated women are not attracted to the men who look like that man that's on the screen. Keep it 100 billion thousand. When we were growing up, and my cousin Tony had a picture of a Farrah Fawcett, a poster of her on the wall. You understand? You couldn't go in no melanated teenager girl room in that era and find no posters of no guys that look like him on the screen in her room, hanging on the wall. We not attracted to them like that. We not. We just not. Sorry. It's nice, obvious as to why. You risking getting fleas and ticks and lice and shit. You know how melanated women is. We ain't trying to fuck with that. A percentage, a big percentage of us. And no, that's just like, for example, I'm a woman, right? I don't know 50% of all women or 50% of all men for me to even say, well, half of men act like this and most men act like that and most women do this and women always doing this. And men, you don't know, you one person. Believe me, you know less than 1% of all the men on the planet. And my brothers, you know less than 1% of all the women on the planet. You've interacted with less than 1% of all the melanated women in North America. Forget the planet. We ain't talking about the planet. Because again, y'all will start going to Brazil and Argentina and the DM looking for women. And it ain't turning out pretty for a lot of them passport brothers either. They getting robbed and all kind of shit. But like I said, they lame and ugly anyway. Somebody show me a picture, send it to my Facebook or my YouTube. Show me a picture of an attractive passport brother. Or if he, not that hard on the eyes, show me one that don't give you a cop or overseer type of vibe. Yeah, Thailand, Philippines, where, hey, and a brother gonna always use the excuse. What? They melanated too, bro. They don't have hair. It's a difference between hair and fur. I've never looked at a puppy and been like, his fur is, you know, his hair. I don't look at the dog and say his hair is brown. No, I say his fur is brown. So when I see fur, I know fur. And again, these are just facts. This has nothing to do with fucking racism. When I mention fur and lice and ticks and fleas, that go in fur, right? So we not the same. So again, it's some self-hate going on with these men and these women who make these choices. They picking up prostitutes. Oh my God. Let's get in the comments. Peace, 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 God. Peace, Goddess. Peace, God. You know, people weren't too receptive when I started back in the day saying peace, God to men and women, right? They ain't like that. But when I say a sky daddy without a sky mother is a fraud, you got a problem with that, right? But if I call a woman a god and I call a man a god, I don't make a preference to calling the woman a goddess. I would just peace God to everybody, right? But people had a problem with it. And for years, I didn't give a shit, right? But my thing is, I did care about this. As a woman, if I, addressed you and said peace God and you had a problem with it, I wouldn't say it to you no more. And right now, I just stopped doing it. You understand? Because I found a way to balance the shit out, right? I say peace Empress to all the sisters. That's what I say, peace Empress. I don't say that shit to every woman, understand? But those who, be in a cipher or whatnot, that's what I say. But, again, after centuries, God done been a man, and we just had a man God. We didn't have a woman God, or at least that's what we thought, because we didn't know no better. We didn't know that the oldest artifact depicting a god is a woman. The first artifact, first statue, which don't mean nothing. Hey, if you talking to a Muslim, they don't give a shit. They say that shit haram. You ain't supposed to have no figurine or no god anyway. According to them, you ever wonder why that is though? If you think that, Islam as a whole is right and correct and there's no flaws in it, you're gonna have, if you have a daughter that travels, all over the world, when she gets older, she's gonna have a lot of questions for you, right? A whole lot of questions. Granted, some of the things that take place in a Saudi Arabia, right, or in Iraq and Afghanistan and the Sudan, some of the things that take place within Islam wouldn't fly over here, right? But y'all, they still kidnapping women and children, the Arabs, and doing all kind of shit to them right now today in the name of Allah. They practicing female genital mutilation. No disrespect to my brothers. I'm not saying that circumcision isn't a cruel procedure, right? But you're not getting it all cut off. They're getting their entire clitoris and other obliterate because they say you don't need it. Not only that, does not the Igbo do that too? Practice that? A lot of the Nigerians who come over here are Igbo. They literally have like some type of like a birthday party for the girl, and during the birthday party they cut her shit off, and it's like it's one of the teen years that they do that to, you know what I'm saying? At least the boys, when they get circumcised, it happened, you know, right after you come through the womb damn near. You ain't gonna remember that shit. But if that shit happened to you at 13, right? And they're taking the whole head off your shit and piercing the skin to try to make, you know, for hygienical purposes, and you know, that be that. It didn't, you know, ruin a complete. Nah, I don't even want to talk about that shit. That shit is crazy. That shit is crazy. I don't think about that. That's about it, y'all. I already went all the way around in a circle. You know, I do need to address the feminist comments or whatever from today or yesterday or whenever it was. Turn the camera on. Let me turn my camera on, because I want you to see me and hear me. I grew up with 3 brothers. I started rapping, or I got into hip hop very early, right? Very, very early. Elementary school early. By the time I was in the 6th grade, we was already standing up on the lunchroom tables, flowing and freestyling and battling, right? 6th grade. And was rapping before that. Keep in mind, probably was, I ain't gonna say I was whack, because I was just freestyle. I wasn't anything I wrote down. So I had an energy to it, you see? Right? I remember Denny Moe was beatboxing for me one day, and I was freestyling, and literally I think he in the 4th and I'm in the 5th grade at the time. So the next day we outside with our little friends, and he beatboxing, he like, Toya, rap. And I start lottie-dottie, we like the party. And then he was like, do the shit you was doing yesterday. I'm like, I was just rapping. Like, you know, freestyle wasn't a word. We weren't talking about cypher and all of this kind of shit back then. Not yet. Freestyle wasn't a word yet. At least not here in Detroit. Right? I just say that. But yeah, for a long, long, long time, I am a hip hop baby. It is nothing feminine. Damn, that's fucked up. Feminist about me, right? I'm very feminine at home. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes, again, it is what it is. I know what it is. It's me. Like I said, I grew up very involved in whatever was hip hop and loved it to death. It just is what it is. When I get into the realm of, I'll just start with the Great Seal or Washita, right? When I started to get involved with these various movements, these are very male-dominated movements. These movements, all of them. I don't name one. Name one, from the Pan-Africanists to the NOI to the 5% Nation, and on and on and on. This is like being in the hip hop industry when I was involved. It's very male dominated. It's very male dominated right now. So me being a feminist, I couldn't fit in none of this shit. So because I'm clearly telling you all that this elemental PTQ stuff that's going crazy with our women and children is not just Hollywood that has been promoting this shit to us. That isn't the only reason. That's not, they're taking advantage of what they know. I'll put it like that. And they are in violation, because you can't even watch a movie without someone who is a homosexual told me that they agree with me about that they put too much homosexuality. Is like it's in every movie, it's in everything now. Like, we knew homosexuality existed, right, without it being in every movie. Now when somebody, again, that's a homosexual, makes that statement, like, yeah, they doing that too much, you know what I'm saying? And they're realizing how it's influencing the babies. Not to mention, we know they got the LBGT2, TT, whatever, involved in academia, sending them to the schools to read children books when it's supposed to be mommy and daddy reading them the books. They're influencing them in every way. But again, the number one reason that the women and children doing this at an alarming rate is because of the pedo activity that has taken place within our communities and went unchecked and ran rapid for decades. I literally don't think I know a woman who has never been sexually assaulted before the age of 18. Detroit actually literally had like a precinct where all the rape kits and shit like that was kept, and they didn't have no more room. And nobody, I'm gonna say nobody, but for the lack of prosecution of injustice, not being served, a lot of these, shit not being investigated, is the reasons why this shit is and they revealed this some years ago, that the records were damaged and it's too many of them in this place, and they are all great cases. This is happening to our sons and our daughters. And it has been happening. And the majority of the time it has went unchecked. Because again, these children will, in some cases, tell grandma, tell mama, tell daddy. And they don't do shit about it. They say don't talk about that. Or we gonna take it to Jesus, or we gonna take it to the church. When sometimes it's the Pastor Pimpin and Father Priest John and Rem Pork Chop be the ones that, you see how many cases that these religious zealots have when it comes to pedo activity. And you've seen this shit for decades. And it's ran rapid for decades and not be checked by our people for decades. So guess what? Now your women and your children. Let me take this down so y'all can see. I'm doing the Fred Cypher. Okay, there it go right there. I gotta take you down. This is why your women and your children is one of the reasons. Literally, 8th and 7th grade little girls holding hands and kissing and shit. I never experienced that in my lifetime when I was in the 7th and 8th and 9th and 10th and 11th or 12th grade. But now this shit just out here running rapid. And again, I had to turn it off. I was looking at a short clip for Clarissa Shields. She's coming out with a documentary and all of this stuff. And believe me, it hit me hard because this is something that just literally came out my mouth 2 days ago. She said when she was 5 years old that she was tampered with. Right? And with me knowing, even with me knowing that 4 out of 5 women done been tampered with, and this went unchecked by families, they uncles, I know, like I said, a couple women who they own fathers, biological father, stepfather. I literally had a school teacher call me about 4 or 5 months ago to share something with me. And mind you, she went to school. She went to Langston University with my youngest brother. So I've known her for a long time. Damn, I shouldn't have said that. Well, my brother went, yes, it's quite a few females, and there's more than one of them that's a teacher, though, that he went to school with. But what she said to me about, man, it's bad, y'all. And imagine, I've been hearing these stories in my whole life, starting with my mother. Shit go unchecked. My grandfather was a minister. Now, he didn't do nothing like that to my mother. But like I said, when you come from these highly religious families, like them little boys I showed y'all that been sleeping on their front porch since July. Their parents have them sleeping. It's a 12-year-old and a 15-year-old. Y'all help me out. They've been sleeping on their, you know how cold it is in Detroit right now? And their father is rubbing pork chop. Come to find out. And when I heard the story, that portion hadn't been revealed that his church, their church that their parents own, is so many blocks away from their home. And you got these babies sleeping on the front porch. But when I first heard the story, shout out to BIN News, you know, that information wasn't even known yet, that the father was a minister, right? Christian Baptist minister. I don't know if he was Baptist, but Christian. Okay. When I heard the story, the first thing that came to my mind, many things came to my mind, but one thing in particular that came to my mind, I said, I bet you they parents is Jehovah's Witnesses or some type of really Christian ass people or something like that. And come to find out, I was right. And this is Detroit. Don't think that these babies that have been sleeping on the porch since July, that their neighbors weren't trying to come to their aid. They were. I don't think it's a street on Detroit where 2 children can be sleeping on the fucking porch for months and don't nobody take the initiative to find out what's going on and care for those children. But in this case, the neighbors who were coming to try to bring the children food or ask them, do you want to come in? Y'all could come in, you know, whatever. Even if you just want to come in and eat dinner or whatever. Them neighbors said that them kids is brainwashed. Something is, you know what I'm saying? You know, they father, minister, blah, blah. And that's how everybody found out that, again, they came from a... This is a problem, y'all. A major problem. And again, law enforcement, I've been leaving them out. They're some of the biggest pedos too. When you watch those shows, and peace be upon our brother here from Pontiac who was baiting these pedophiles. And I'm gonna say this whole word. I'm grown. I don't got time to be fucking playing with YouTube or Facebook or wherever else I'm on. He was doing like ABC News used to do. Set up the police things and talk to the pedo, and he think he talking to a 14-year-old boy or a 13-year-old girl, and he show up and it's the feds and the news camera. Well, it was a brother from Pontiac, Michigan here who was doing the same thing, right? And a lot of people, was always telling him like, bro, that's dangerous. You know what I'm saying? But he had been doing it for so long, right? Most of the people who he got caught up were law enforcement. Just like when you watch the shit back in the day when they first started doing it, like on ABC or CBS or whatever that show used to come on back in the day, 2020, I don't know. When they first started doing stuff like that, a lot of those pedos were law enforcement. I'll say it again. So we got the pastors, rabbis, the priests, the imams. I don't want to hear shit, because again, right now, in the name of Islam, they're kidnapping little boys and little girls and SAing them and enslaving them and making some of them eunuchs, as well as practicing female genital mutilation on little girls. So they don't give a fuck about a woman. So I've been there, done that. I'm not speaking negatively about the various theologies and their doctrine based off of me only knowing the fucking fuckery that's done, right? It's not that at all. If I was once a practicing Muslim or once a practicing Hebrew Israelite, who just ignored the story of Lot and his daughters, you know what I'm saying? Like, I did all that already. And when you see the same thing within all of these ideologies, at some point, a light bulb got to go off over your head, right? Now, granted, it's something to be learned in all of them, right? My problem with our people was this. You grab a hold to this monotheistic doctrine and you stay there. You don't learn anything about any other, for lack of a better word, religions or other people's cultures or cultures of other tribes or clans that are much more ancient and precede, you know what I'm saying, such tampered doctrine. It's you ain't even getting the whole thing. And then when you do get, like, for example, the King James version of the Bible has 66 books in it. It's not one book, it's 66 books, right? And then the Catholicism book, the Catholic book, it has 72 books in it, right? And then, you know, if you're going to deal with the King James version, you know, you're going to want to deal with the Tanakh and the Talmud, you know, all of the elements of the Abrahamic, because Islam is Abrahamic, right? Again, I'm not saying that you're not supposed to learn any of this, or I'm saying the point is to study it and gain spiritual awareness, right? But that don't seem to be what's happening. Number one. Number two, once you make the decision to say, hey, you know, I'm a Muslim now, you know, I'm like, okay, right? But I don't want to see you 5 years later and you still own that. I want to see you continue to travel through the chambers of knowledge and not trap yourself in one chamber. Therefore, you know, you think your shit is the only shit, the only one true this, and when it's a plethora, you know what I'm saying, of other ancient cosmologies and whatnot that exists, that just happen to have some of the same stories and allegories and esoteric information as the book that you got. The only problem is one of them predate the other. Then we talk about people who, how many people who claim to be Christians that you know of that have read all 66 books within the KJV, and that still doesn't encompass everything produced as far as doctrines or papyrus and things like this and that about that one particular ideology. There's more. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I just mentioned the Talmud and the Tanakh. Now the Septuagint and all of that, that's like getting in the I mean, I'm just saying. To me, it's a bad dude. This is the reason why you have some of us sitting on this side of the table, you understand, and some of us sitting on the other side of the table when we're in a crisis. I kept mentioning the financial crisis of Detroit. As a people, we in a financial crisis. We are. I don't care how many people are. I'm comfortable, but I ain't rich. And as to what I'm gonna be able to leave to my heirs and descendants, it should be way more. It's real simple. If, again, we make up 13% of the nation's population, but we only hold 2% of the nation's wealth, that means the majority of us living at the poverty line, just above it or just below it. Point blank. There's no way that you can, if you know numbers, right? You know math. You know, I ain't even talk about calculus and trigonometry and nothing like that. What I'm talking about is basic math, right? You can count. If we 13% of the nation's population, we supposed to hold at the least, the very least, 13% of the nation's wealth. Every other nationality does. They equal that or more of their percentage in this said country. You look at the Koreans and what percentage of North America they make up. And then you look at their percentage of wealth. It matches their percentage of population or more. But when it comes to us, and you don't recognize that by design, and you willing to be hoodwinked to talk to me about a right wing, left wing, and conservative, and yeah, when y'all be saying F the Democrats, I don't got no problem with that at all. I guarantee you I don't. But when you be trying to hold Trump nuts, like, bro, it's the same system. this is how they literally became wealthy as fuck, by subjecting you to their system by force or contractually. They don't give a fuck. At all. Best advice I probably could ever give any of my indigenous aboriginal Moors who are, dabbling in legalese and litigation and, contract law and so on and so forth, UCCs and all of that shit. I did all of that shit years ago. I just showed y'all my National Great Seal. Moorish Affairs. Which document is this? This is my Declaration of National Moorish Name and Title Reclamation. This is from November 28th, 2006. And even before that, I had already nationalized so many times. Right. Starting in 2005. So this is my advice, right? Whether, I've been through it all, whether you're talking about discharging debt, whether you're talking about doing a disclaimer, a discharge, a disclaimer, a tort claim, I don't give a fuck what it is. Studied it all for years and taught and then been a assistant clan mother, because I haven't passed my moon cycle, as they say, and you're supposed to be past your moons. You're supposed to be a cougar. You're not supposed to be able to be a clan mother unless you're a cougar. I ain't a cougar yet. Assistant Grand Sheikas. Some people wanted to force me to be the Grand Sheikas. Nobody. I know too much. When we talking about this shit, I know too much. I know most of the people at the heads of those movements don't give a fuck about Islam. And don't give a fuck about us. Let me say. They can look. I'm talking about some of the most knowledgeable people will have you mesmerized. You understand? Right? You look up to some of them right now. They don't give a fuck about none of that shit. And it would be different if I felt like they just displayed a particular behavior that would make me come to that conclusion. But I'm talking about out their mouth. They don't give a fuck about that. They don't. Then you notice how they bounce around. Used to be this organization, but now we're this organization and that. It's a reason for that shit. My situation is different. When most people come out and say, well, such and such ain't shit and they're fraud and blah, 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 they doing that shit out of spite. I don't have to do that. I know that I have common sense enough to know, this ain't gonna work out. It's not gonna work out. Because your leaders and your chiefs and your sheikas and your muftis and your clan mothers and so on and so forth ain't shit. And this is something I can say in front of the camera because I done said it to faces. Whatever. Everybody ain't to be played with. So let me say this. A lot of people involved in a lot of these movements, a lot of them have mental health issues, an abundance of pending or current cases already. So then they want to come to this movement to try to get all their little shit fixed out. It don't work like that. But chief such and such and such and such and such and such is telling you get them such and such, and they It worked like that. It don't work like that. This is the advice I want to give y'all, and then I'm out. Those of you who are involved in any of this or contemplating getting with a particular, and it's if you ask me, I'll tell you where you should go depending on what type of documentation that you're trying to, you know what I'm saying, or what you're trying to fight. You know, some people have IRS issues. Most people coming to these movements, you know, they got child protective services issues and shit already. Soon as they walk through the door, right? You know, CPS done took their kids, or, you know, they trying to fight child support, or whatever the fuck it is. They got a dope case, whatever it is. Let's keep it a buck. Know that, or let's just say they got some traffic tickets, some simple shit that we're supposed to be able to manage. We're supposed to be able to go in there and make them balance the books and, you know, judge you, fiduciary, you know, I'm the beneficiary, and so on and so forth, right? If that's the route you choose to take when doing commerce and trade with them willingly, right? Understand that you cannot expect criminals to honor law. What do I mean by that? Let's say we both have, you know, driving with suspended license or expired license cases or something like that. And, you know, I'm able to submit my documentation and have my case dismissed, right? You got the same infraction, citation, ticket, whatever the fuck you want to call it. You know what I'm saying? You got the same ticket I got it, and you went with the same or similar documents with the same premises that I did. But they don't dismiss your shit. They find you guilty. You cannot expect criminals to honor law. These people are criminals. Period. The way that they do business is how they became the most wealthiest nation, state, right? Their business practices predominantly 99.9% consist of the millions of statutes, codes, acts that they've put on the books, which is why they're not the largest country by far, but they have the largest incarceration rate. Again, if I make 100,000 new laws every year, people gonna have a lot of problems. A lot of problems. You gonna, you know, your intent is to have people pockets and bank accounts empty and them locked up. Because who the fuck needs millions of statutes and codes and so-called laws in order to have harmony? God damn it. Peace. It ain't that much criminality in the world to where you have to. But if that's how you became a $300 trillion machine, then you gonna, hey, hell yeah, every year 100,000 more laws. Can't do this. You know, you can't collect rainwater. You understand? On Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. You can't dig a garden in your backyard or your front yard without getting some type of permission slip from the county or the city that you live in. Just crazy shit. Just, you don't give a fuck. 10 years in jail and or $40,000. That's all the fuck they give a fuck. They don't give a fuck. This is how they got rich. So again, when you go into these courts, don't be surprised if you get your case dismissed and I don't, and we got the same shit. Same motion of dismissal, same affidavit of facts, same whatever it is. Whatever it is, whatever you understand? The people is criminals. So for us, knowing what's going on right now, what has happened historically, for us to have the expectations that they are going to honor law, you talking about the people who let dogs bite people. You talking about the police officers who still in the 60s and 70s can see a white man shoot a so-called black man and don't do shit about him. Don't arrest him, don't do shit. But if you make a right turn without using a blinker, they coming up to you fully armed. Fully armed with shackles on them. You have any weapons? Y'all got some. And y'all strangers. I don't know you motherfuckers. But me talking like that, you know, the first thing y'all would say, I ain't gonna say y'all, I'm not talking specifically to anybody. You see what I'm saying? But y'all will try to say like, I'm wrong. How am I wrong? Did we not teach our children not to talk to strangers? And you talking about armed strangers? Whose origins was to do exactly what we seen them do to Freddie Gray and George Floyd and Breonna Taylor, and the list goes on and on. Oh, why I still got this picture up here? Why ain't nobody telling me to take this picture down? I guess because you weren't paying attention to the comments. Let's see. We are sure not at all. We is not fucking with Brad. I'm sorry. We melanated women have never been into. I should have been doing a recap on the shit with her from last week, but it's all good. We'll get to it. You know, she running around, and this is so ironic. I was supposed to do a live about her and Tommy Sotomayor some years ago, and I just seen a video of her calling, peace be upon him, Tupac Amaru Shakur a homosexual. And it was brought to my attention that Tommy Sotomayor is the one who started that Tupac is a homosexual shit. Another ugly guy. Like, he could be a passport boy. Nobody cares. Bruh, you is repulsive. You are very abrasive to the eyes. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying. Like, you know, unfortunately, a lot of people... it ain't just what it is. It's trauma bonding. I told y'all, people have trauma bonded with Candace Owens, and again, forgot all the fuck shit that she said about George Floyd. Forgot the fact that, you know, she you know, I don't think she was the sole creator of that documentary that said that the police didn't kill him. He died of dope, not of the police killing him after having his knee on his neck for more than 9 minutes. She did a lot of fuck shit, y'all. I'm not forgiving nothing. And then I don't gotta forgive her, and I don't give a fuck about her. That ain't the point. The point is, the trauma bonding with these snakes and traitors, you gotta stop. Y'all the trauma bonded with this woman for real like that? Sister was going back and forth with me a little bit about her earlier this week, and I'm like, wow. All the shit she said. She literally said that white supremacy is not a threat to black people. That's what she said in front of the congressional something. I don't know what, I shared it already, but yeah, that bad. This is where we at. Her and Yay been pulled his last straw with me. But you got to understand it and pay attention. Kanye West said that his dad specifically used to have Playboy magazines with the white women in them, which is where he believes his preference for that came from. Because he said he has a type. So certain people, I don't know how y'all be supporting that shit. I'm just saying. Yep. The mental. Hold on. Alright. There's so many comments on here. My bad, y'all. Appreciate y'all for rocking with me. Hit the like, please. Please hit the like. Share. If you're not subscribed, subscribe. Should I always forget to say. I know you just playing. Shit's funny. Crazy. These the people y'all following. This shit is crazy. Could have never told me. So let me do this before I leave. Right quick. And I'm gone for real this time after this. My lips dry as hell. I don't know what's been going on with me not even attempting to use no chapstick for like the past couple months. I ain't thought about no fucking chapstick, and I got 1,000 of them and buy them all the time. Come on. Okay, it should be coming up now, buddy. Okay, hold on, let me go. I gotta do this for my sisters, because brothers, hear me out. Y'all have to realize not just the damage that was done by way of women not recognizing their divinity. They don't have images of themselves as a divine entity in either of the big three. That don't happen, because most of our people, again, are either into Judaism, Christianity, or Islam, and none of them, first of all, it's not about an equal. I'm not gonna say none of them seen us as equal. If anytime there were a mention of a female God in the King James version of the Bible in particular, it's just like this. The wise women were called witches and burnt to the stake and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Like very barbaric shit. So if you had some form of wisdom or whatnot, you was called a witch. You're a demon. Diana, demon. What's the one lady name in the Bible? And Yahweh was like, that's the she's a a false god. You know what I'm saying? Anybody outside of him is the false god, and that is embedded in a lot of us, and that is just so fucked up. So then you don't look at yourself as divine, right? And this is what I was getting to, brothers. During the reign, and I ain't gonna even say the reign right now, as nation of gods and earths, or 5%ers, the men were given the God body lessons as gods. We were not. Nobody returned our divinity to us. And Nobody really talks about it. Now, you had sprinkles here and there, you know, with the black woman is God and this, that, and the third. You understand? But the minute it starts, the first word that comes out somebody's mouth is feminine. Feminist. That feminist, that's that white girl propaganda and blah, blah. That ain't got shit to do with them. We pulling out fucking ancient artifacts and shit that predate any damn male deity that you can even name. Hold on. Now, a lot of people, you know, will say, well, this was found in Europe. You see the beady hair? That look like what you would consider a European woman. And even if you say they found, yeah, that's the oldest figurine of a god or whatever, you know. Point being is, you said the word Europe. Europa. You know who Europa was? Whether you believe it was a myth or not, it don't negate the fact that the name of that place is called Europe. Literally, and we talking about something that's over 35,000 years old. You know what I'm saying? I would assume they did that based off carbon dating. You see it? No, that ain't no, look at, that's not no white woman at all. I'm sorry, man. So again, this is also the first deity, the first deity to be referred to as the morning star, long before Yahshua was referred to as the morning star, long before Lucifer was referred to as the morning star in the King James. See, some people don't even know that Jesus and Lucifer are referred to as the morning star in the Helios Biblios in your Holy Bible, right? But the fact that Venus was known as the morning star thousands, like 35,000 years before Yahshua or Lucifer was called was referred to as the morning star. So when I say they stole the divinity of the great mother or of our women, that's what I'm talking about. Because again, if the great mother again is referred to as the morning star tens of thousands of years before Lucifer is referred to as the morning star, or Jesus is referred to as the morning star, somebody stole some damn divinity around here. Period. I remember some years ago, Tazariot, we used to be Facebook friends, and I used to be hitting him, boy. I asked him that same question I just asked y'all about Lucifer, and you know, of course, I hit him with some of the some chapters and verses out of Malachi. You know, God is a son. You know what I'm saying? You know what he told me when I hit him with that? He said, you know, well, I call my boy a son because he shine like one. I'm like, oh God, all right, I'm done with you, dude. It specifically says God is a son, S-U-N, son. Since then, he didn't block me. He just unfriended me or whatever. And I got that shit screenshot somewhere, me going back and forth with him, asking him questions about the Bible that he couldn't answer. Again, especially the one about Venus being a morning star before Jesus and with Yahshua and Lucifer. And they don't like that. They lucky I don't know where my original Bible is. I haven't fucked with it in years, but it's the truth. It's so highlighted. Oh boy. See, you always do this to me, and what it is you was exactly. I didn't get to that, but a lot of older Christian women do not fuck with me, because back in the day when I was like many people are now, all excited, I fucking think I know every goddamn thing. I used to fuck with them. I used to be like, and I probably still do. I used to be like, if Adam and Eve are the first people, then who was Lilith? And they don't know what I'm like, Adam's first wife, Lilith, what happened to her? And I'd be like, Adam ain't had no wife. It was just him and Eve. And again, these are people who haven't read all 66 of those books. They just go by what Rum Pork Chop on them says. The dudes that be violating our little boys and little girls. If my pastor ain't say it, you think he gonna tell you about Lilith after drilling it in your head that Adam and Eve was the first beings? But again, you don't have a Talmud. You know what I'm saying? You don't have a Tanakh. You're always talking about Torah, the Torah. Oh, it's the Torah. Stuck in that one book and trapped yourself in one chamber of knowledge when there's 36 chambers to travel through. And it's making, is contributing to the conditions that we are in, as to where at 10 and maybe 11 years of age, melanated mothers have this conversation with their sons and their daughters. You don't walk to or from school by yourself. Y'all stay together. Mothers having to tell their children that a hard penis has no conscience. Again, imagine being a mother and having to convey to your children that a hard penis has no conscience. But again, if every 4 out of 5 of our women weren't getting violated, and again, it's not just the little boys, it's the little girls too. And while I talked about the rabbis and the priests, what about some of these demonic ass women out here sexually abusing children? Iceberg Slim say it happened to him. Todd Bridges of different strokes say it happened to him. And he told his father. Father didn't believe him. A man did this to him when he was a child. Your child tell you some shit like this, and you don't believe the child. You believe the adult. Then later on, your son think he Keisha now. He identified as being Keisha now. That's some crazy shit. A mother has to tell they 10 and 11-year-old sons and daughters that a hard dick don't have no conscience. Bananas. what's his face? And I'm not familiar enough to know if it's his daughter that's the gay one. I told you I ain't playing with YouTube tonight. I don't feel like all that. You know me, elemental TTOQQQ, all that. Nope. One of DL's daughters was sexually assaulted. DL Hewley, I'm talking about. And DL said he didn't believe it. And now your daughter just married another woman and you'll never get grandbabies by her. Because you didn't believe her. Again, I'm telling y'all, this is why the babies and the women are getting involved with what they consider to be an alternative, lifestyle. When that's not what it is at all. It's trauma. It's mental illness. And I don't know everything, and I don't know everything that it is, but in a lot of those situations, because I don't understand that. Like Monique, that unfunny ass stand-up that she did on Netflix after causing all of that fucking drama. That shit was terrible, whack as hell, wasn't funny. You, a 50-plus-year-old woman up on stage who has 3 or 4 sons or something like that. You got grown children. You up on stage talking about you want some coochie. Bitch, you got a coochie. Fuck are you talking about? What can a woman do for you sexually that a man cannot do? But see, it's that trauma. Remember, she said she was essayed by her older brother. And you see the turmoil that it caused within her family. Her mom all on Oprah. That's why she fell out with Oprah. You got my mama on TV talking about how my brother used to sexually abuse me. Crazy. Trauma, mental illness. A grown ass woman, 50-some years old, have been married 2-3 times. Again, got an abundance of children. Decide all of a sudden, you want to be with. It don't make sense. You already have a vagina. What the fuck do you mean? You want vagina? You want a vagina? You want some vagina? Bitch, you got one. You got a vagina. Your husband got a penis. They go together. Crazy. Then she was on there talking about not being aware of hygiene. Vaginal hygiene specifically. Bitch, you was a big grown ass woman. And like, I don't understand it. Yes, a lot of girls, well, some girls aren't raised to, they aren't taught how to take care of their hygiene, right? But I would assume once you become a full grown adult and you know, you're responsible for yourself, that you would learn, right? You would learn, you would learn, because eventually you start to date and so on and so forth, right? And yeah, like, that don't make no sense to me. You 30-some years old and you mean to tell me that, yeah, you didn't take care of your vaginal hygiene? I promise I ain't fuck with her since. That Netflix special wasn't funny, not one bit. None. They should have booed her ass. Then, I think she played, cause she played in the Bessie Smith movie as the singer who, basically Bessie Smith was the protege of that. I can't think of her name too. She was famous too. But tell me why they always do this. How come they keep making these women gay? They made Billie Holiday gay. They made Bessie Smith in the movie gay, and her. I hate the word mentor, but y'all know what I'm saying. She's gay. Every successful black woman back in the day, in the entertainment industry specifically, they made them gay. It's some conspiracy going on here, goddamn. At the very least, it's very disrespectful because they don't expose their own like that. Their own who keep their shit in the closet. They keep it in the closet for them after they die, and they do movies for them. But all of our people, you got to paint them with that rainbow brush. Not surprised. Not surprised at all. So I ain't gonna keep y'all. I've been on here longer than I've been on here in a long ass time. And I would like to just keep everything to an hour. But this is a very traumatic topic that most people don't want to touch. Everything I've talked about tonight, nobody wants to touch that shit. And that's the problem. That's the problem. That's why our babies and women are the most missing women and children, barring no other ethnicity. Ethnicity. It ain't even funny. It's just I'm repeating myself. And again, this type of information don't pick up momentum like that. The last brother to do it was what was the brother name who used to talk about this kind of shit all the time as far as the pedo activity, and dang, what was his name? Oh my God, I can't think of his name right now, but they got him up out of here. Guys start saying he was a plant and all of this shit, but he admitted to working for Homeland Security when he initially came into the community. I cannot think of his name right now. And the work he was putting in was needed, and he just gets pushed out. Somebody, giving the children a voice. I can't think of his name. Boy, they got him up out of here. Exactly. Put that comment up there. Yeah, and Ma Rainey. Thank you. Ma Rainey and Bessie Smith and Billie Holiday. They just made all of them gay in a movie. Exactly. And the thing is, them is two people who, openly, you know what I'm saying, don't really care, and they'll still never do it. They'll still never disgrace they memories like that, how they do us. Crazy. It's been dope. It's been dope doing this. Even though I'm not where I was when I planned to do it. Just drama, unnecessary drama and shit before I started. So, yeah, I'll probably have some peace tomorrow. I didn't have peace before I got with y'all. So, we'll continue this. And actually, it's time for a part 3 on the trauma bonding with the snakes. Definitely need a part 3. I could, show that and improve that 1,000 times over. Man, I hate Star tripping. I was really on one, having a good ass day. Actually took my time to put this together, and not to be able to convey it to y'all how I wanted to is crazy. But yeah, shit, it's fucking crazy. Thank you, and thank you. Now tune in with me a little bit later on Saturn's Day.
Supreme.
Shock.
They say I'm dope, I said I'm smoke, fire, blowing air, carbon, earth, solid, water, wet. I'm steady beat, a sister soldier that dies effects. So gone with all that hoopla and rah-rah, unless you talking about Atun, Namuna, Amara, pineal glands, all seeing eyes. We call the third eye, we came to build, not pay your bill. Slang municipality, city seals like roadkill, descendants of ancient mound builders. Not supposed to need encyclopedias, genetically encoded with 720. We got amnesia, claiming we Christian cretins in love with Yahweh, Muhammad, and Jesus, but you was living inside of God when you was a fetus. But believers and never believers, non-believers, cause we don't be lying, shaking hands and taking oaths with demons.
YouTube, you fools try to limit me. Muting and deleting channels, thinking that's the end of me. Y'all are not on my level, smaller than a centipede. This is my purpose, TBT is a ministry. I do not tire, my God gives me energy. Chose by Messiah, you believe, come get with me. Married to a black queen, we got the illest chemistry. Founded the black tube, and now we making history. Black tube, 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 black tube. Black tube, 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 what? TBT, 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 what? TBT, 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 what? TheBlackTube.com. I'm a giant killer, son of an omniscient God who's realer. If this be the thriller in Manila, I'm Ali in his prime. It's showtime, go time, about to take what's mine. We are not with your agenda. We showing real.